Before we begin the video, if you haven't yet, come on down and join my Discord server. Link is down in the description. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for one of my final Season 15 videos. Today's my seasonal Let's Look Back video, in which we're basically going to reflect on the season and the journey leading up to it. If you've seen these videos before, you know the deal. If not, here's what's going on. We're going to start out by talking about the theories that were made before this season, and if they were ultimately proven or disproven. Then I'll elaborate on the good stuff, and we'll close out with the bad. Having explained that, let's begin. It had been expected for a while that this would be a Nia season, even last year before there was news about the island. After Wildbrain Ninjago made Fire, Ice, Earth, and Lightning chapters, it seemed logical that Water or Energy would be next. After set names for Season 14 were revealed to be jungle-themed, most people seemed to agree that the summer season would be about Water and or Nia. This was proven. Seabound is Nia's second focus season, but her first solo season, and focuses on her in several different ways. For a long time, fans have been asking for a Cole season and a Nia season, and fans can finally check both off their lists. Now knowing that this season would be about Nia, what would her story be? It was easy to assume she would develop her water powers further, but nobody predicted what would actually happen to her until the episode descriptions were released. The finale description described Nia as making a decision that would doom her, saying goodbye to the ninja, and diving into the sea. Then episode 12 was released and confirmed the fate of Nia, who merged with the sea and lost herself to defeat Wajira. From here, a lot of fans expected the same would happen to Nia, and that was correct. But if you told a fan a year ago that this would happen, they probably wouldn't believe you, considering how play it safe Ninjago's been in recent years. The Keepers were expected to return in this season, and this made sense because of how the Storm Amulet would be relevant again, and since, of course, Season 14 seemed to do a lot of setting up for Seabound. The Keepers do return in this season, but maybe not in the role some people were thinking or hoping. They make their comeback in Episode 9, as well as Chief Mammotus, who still isn't mentioned by name. And they realize they've been robbed by clutch powers, and that's about all they do. Another theory people felt could happen was if Kalmar invaded the island to get the amulet. This made a lot of sense, but what we weren't counting on was that the season went in a different direction, with Clutch stealing the amulet. Lastly, this wasn't exactly a widely believed theory, but some people felt that Spinjitzu Burst could have made a comeback in this season. Seabound is similar to Season 13 in the sense that it takes place in a location connected to the Focus's powers. Burst is also an ability that can be used specifically when a master is near the source of their power. Unsurprisingly though, Burst did not return, so this theory was disproved. This does, however, beg the question if this ability will ever return. I can see why it was excluded from Seabound, but it would be cool if Burst became something greater than just a method for Cole to defeat Vangelis. That's all for the first part of this video. Now let's talk about what I enjoyed about Season 15. Yes, the ending, easily the best part of this season. Seabound's finale shocked everyone by doing something that nobody expected would ever happen again. It removed a ninja from the team. Nia sacrifices her free will and humanity to become one with the sea, to save Jay and defeat Wajira. This works so well because it improved Jay and Nia's connection to each other, perhaps in an even better way than Skybound did, but it also brought consequences back to Ninjago. This season doesn't end with things going back to normal. It is heartbreaking and chilling, as Tommy Drazen said, but also very uncertain. With Zane's death, we knew he survived, but will Nia ever return? The show has never been more unclear. Of all 15 seasons to exist in Ninjago, Seabound probably has the most interesting and best story of them all. The first great part of the story, and something that can be said about Season 14 too, is following up on Wajira after a seemingly irrelevant mention in Season 8. What's also great though is the two-season storyline with Wajira. Multi-season or installment stories tend to be better than standalone stories for me. I also felt this season wrapped up the darkness of the show again, and for the first time in years, a non-robot character is shown murdered on screen and dies. Of course, there's also the finale, which was some of Ninjago's best storytelling, as I said. And let's not forget how this season also advances the Vegestone story in the premiere. Really excellent stuff. It is insane how connected to the rest of Ninjago's world this season feels, especially elements from the past, present, and future. As the culmination of these 6 elemental chapters, you could say, Seabound incorporates elements from all 4 previous seasons. Antonia and the Explorers Club are back from Season 11, Prime Empire and the Dance Game from Season 12, Shintaro and Vanya from Season 13. As for the present, obviously, I don't need to explain how the island connects to this season. However, Seabound also connects to future stories with its ending and brief Vegestone story. There's no doubt that the next season will explore a ninja team without Nia, and Seabound is responsible for that. This season was fantastic, so I don't have any bad things to say. That being said, there are a few very minor issues. The fact that I've chosen to discuss plot holes should show how good this season is, and I want to make it very clear this is a tiny issue that does not affect how I view the season. That being said, as great as the backstory is, I do feel like there are a few inconsistencies that seem to make things confusing. For example, it is said that Wojira was the master of water wind, but yet Niad was also the master of water. So how did Niad get the element from Wojira? I think it's also worth asking why Kalmar seems to have never known about the Keepers, despite Betho telling the tale like it's common knowledge. Wojira is also supposed to control wind, yet the Storm Ambulance abilities are nothing like the wind element from Season 5. I feel like this season's middle episodes are definitely a bit weaker, which isn't shocking because a lot of seasons are like this. To start with, I don't feel the Keepers do enough, and them being portrayed as easy to manipulate and foolish, again, isn't great. This is also where Bethamar starts to weaken as a character, doing little else besides saying, "Do not harm my friends," and explaining backstory. The Ninjago story in episode 10 is good, but I think this season generally could have done more with Kai. There are some hints of fire and possible foreshadowing in a future season, but not much more other than having Kai answer a riddle where the answer happens to be fire. The riddle doesn't feel connected to him or any sort of story beyond just Kai fire. That's about all for this season's Let's Look Back special. Seabound is the best Ninjago season we have had since Hunted, and it gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Overall, just an excellent season and really well done. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone and everyone you know. Share your thoughts on Ninjago Season 15 Seabound below, and I'll see you next time.